Mark
Baha'i.
Stair.
Mark Stereo.
I did get Jonathan Baha'i. Yeah, he was the second one. Anybody else? And maybe test it out, click your record, and if it doesn't work, change your name, make sure that you can.
Thank
Did
you.
you
It's
get
working.
Todd as well?
Yeah,
And yourself?
I'm good here.
I can't get myself. So when I give it back, somebody will need to give it to me for some
I'll
reason.
take care of you.
I'm the host, so by
Yep.
default now I can.
Okay, finally we got Randall, Mike, Mark, Seth, Luke Stokes, Boyd, Jonathan.
Simon XYZ, you should be able to. So if you want to remove the R, just test it out. Mark Stair, you should be able to if you want to remove the R. R Orange, you should be able to now as well. So I believe that covers everybody.
No,
Why he says R Orange, is that because you want recording, or is that because that's your name? I don't know.
he didn't win that I can
Okay,
see.
well then I'm gonna remove permission. Sorry, R Orange Flash 777 Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't win. I just jumped back in because I was hoping to be able to like just kind of watch, but I'm not sure if that's allowed.
No. Unfortunately, like, Zoom doesn't have that feature, but like, I don't know if it could be like a class thing, I'm sure, but you can watch the recording later.
Okay.
Right. Obviously, that's the big point of this. But yeah, because I just have to break people out. I mean, I can't even watch unless they invite me into the room for, tech support basically, or support of some kind. So yeah, but you can chill here. I mean, there's some of us chatting, but anyway, let's get going.
Boy John, you should be able to. So I will reassign a host to you. And then whoever can't, please let Dominic.
Yeah, I got it.
All
I
right,
can
Dominic,
pull it
you're
back.
back.
Yeah, thanks.
And if you can add me, please.
Of course. Let's do. It's funny how the menu changes oddly. Leaves.
1 second, I gotta.
Okay. All right, quick, because we're. I don't know. Where are we on time, folks? How bad am I doing?
I think we're about 13 minutes over.
Okay, it's not terrible. All right. Yeah, we're supposed to start at 15:20. Yeah, we're 14 minutes over. Han, come on. You paid a pee in a cup, man. You're like the co-host. All right, guys. Again, let me reiterate then. Let's just make sure someone in the room's recording when you get in there. It doesn't have to be the winners. If there was, they're running out of room in their IPFS or anything. It sounds like everybody was good, but just in case, doesn't matter. Just please make sure someone records it. Ideally 2 people in case there's a mistake and someone can just delete. Okay. Same rules, right? It's just, going to be 4 groups of 4. Each group's going to elect somebody, and then that's going to be our final group. Okay. As soon as Han gets back, I will push for breakout rooms. I'm gonna have to assign, so let me start working on that actually.
Oh, Marco.
Yes.
Marco. Yeah, I don't think he can be in the room because
getting
this
out
has
there.
to be. Yeah.
You can be here. It's okay.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay.
I'm just he's not gonna be able to watch or anything. I mean, we can chat, and I'd love to hear feedback, but I'm gonna have to assign everybody, and that's okay. It's really not a problem. I'm gonna do this. Okay, this is fine. It'll still be randomized.
This is so cool. I'm just thinking about this process, just looking at all the names with round 2, and like some of you I know and some of you I don't. I'm still looking forward to like getting to know more of the people in the community doing the coolest stuff. Like that's one of the neatest byproducts of this process is if you participate every 6 months or so, however far along in the process you get to know more of the key people doing cool stuff, which is I think such a cool, like again, a human part of this experience. I really think that's fantastic.
Yeah, also binge watch the recordings afterwards.
This is a great way to network too.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know if all the winners from the first round are here?
Everybody but Han.
How many were there? How many were the subgroups in
4.
the previous run?
It's gonna be 4.
No, I mean, how many?
Oh, I don't know.
rooms rooms in the previous session?
16.
There were
16.
16, right? Yeah.
So 16 winners will go into 4 rooms. So it'll be again 4 rooms of 4 people.
I'm just doing it,
Did
guys.
anyone
It's
not
happening.
reach consensus? I'm curious.
No, everybody did.
Everyone did. That's awesome.
And I will answer questions in a minute, but please, I've got a weird little way I'm doing this. So talk amongst yourselves, but act like I'm not here. Because I got to make this happen. I had to randomize myself, and I'll explain my methodology on camera so everybody knows, but I think it's effective. Again, feel free to chat. You won't bother me. I've got the kind of ADD where if there's a lot of shit going on, I concentrate better. It's kind of strange. Who else here? There's one. Randall.
Luckily.
We've got Mike and Seth.
Hi guys. John is missing.
Sorry?
John from Boyd is missing.
He missing from the overall thing or from our group here?
Yeah, I think he got out from he got kicked out from the main channel and he didn't get back. Maybe he lost connection.
Okay, I don't know. Ironically, I'm and you maybe as well, but I'm from the forum post that I put up yesterday. I ended up reaching out to John to sort of work on his behalf
Okay.
to get 1,000 funds to build that the Telegram Discord power up function.
Right. Okay. So it's quite funny because I won my round because I want to support EOS power up.
All right, Simon and Iron Mike, you guys got your work cut out for you.
Yes. I've been following EOS since the beginning of the ICO, and I've found it very fascinating from the beginning because it's such a groundbreaking technology, and yeah, you can barely make every middleman optional and reach more liberty for everyone. But I also had to realize that the information are always just in English, and it's pretty hard for other guys or people from other countries to understand and learn what EOS actually is. And I guess with the upcoming price increasing, is it even right? The community will grow automatically, but if we don't deliver the right informations, maybe we can't keep the culture alive that's growing right now. So I personally, when I would win, I would take the 1,000 EOS to translate the book. And I also would like to get elected because of the fact that I have tried to talk to several YouTubers, but I had the feeling that they don't even want to listen to me because I'm just a nobody. And if I would, if I could say, hey, official selected, elected representative of the EOS community, and they have the feeling they're getting the information from the first hand, then maybe they would report it and spread the factual reports over EOS and not only the price and technical analysis. So we can also spread the knowledge about the technology, about EOS, about the non-violence communication thing, and even Dan's book and everything. That's EOS.
Cool.
What do you think about that?
That's your pitch. I don't. What do you guys think? Do you want to just go through them and then sort of ask questions and see what we think, or do we want to go more time one-on-one?
Is it everyone, right? Is it just 4 of us? Or
I think this is it. Yeah, and I assume we're all interested in moving forward. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for us to each speak for a little bit, because once we hear everybody, there may be different comments that we want to make, right?
Yeah. Do you want to go next, Mike?
Yeah, sure.
Or wait, what is your name? Sorry, it might not be Mike. I read Mike, but it's Iron Monkey. So I just assumed, I saw Mike, but that's probably not your name.
It's not the easiest screen name, but I've had it since like 1994, so I just keep it up there.
Right.
My name is Dan, actually.
Dan, okay.
The Iron Monkey is, like I said, an old screen name. I'm really excited to be here in round 2. And I'll give you a brief background on me and what got me into this process. So I was the kid that had a Commodore 64 way back in the day and learned how to do like basic on little tape drives and stuff like that. It was fun to make a dot go across the screen. And in my college years, I went to a university that had a grant from IBM. So we had internet pretty early on, and I worked on mainframe computers during my summer breaks. So I was always very interested in the mechanics and the timing and how it all comes together and moving the processes along. It was a question of being at the right place at the right time that I got into the internet advertising industry in like 97. And I started selling ad space for Prodigy and CompuServe. And my career basically took off from there. I went on to found 2 different advertising agencies. One I still own and operate on some level. The other was sold to a big conglomerate in 2005. And presently I'm the head of digital at a boutique agency here in New York City called Swell Shark. And we run advertising campaigns that span across a pretty wide range of brands, anyone from Virgin Atlantic to Sotheby's International Realty, and few and far between. So what got me interested in this process and all along has been this lack of an advertising effort for EOS. And I had contemplated several times to come up with a worker proposal that might help get some funding. But the task seemed so monumental to take on as one person, and having a regular job and career, it wasn't something that I could fully commit to. And so now that the Eden OS process has come up, I felt like an opportunity was presented. And if I didn't take it, I would be doing myself and the community a disservice. Tony Robbins has a great line about what we do for a living. And he talks about work and career and passion. And that if we can find something that is our passion, then it doesn't feel like work, and the career kind of takes care of itself. So that's what I'm hoping to do. I've been in advertising over 20 years, and I'm quite disillusioned with a lot of the brands that I work with. Everybody is on like a social justice kick or is standing on some sort of a platform. And it's just hard to show up every day and work on stuff that you don't have your heart in. I mean, I still like the technology aspect of what I do, and I try to focus on that and not the message so much. And that's what gets me through the day. I speak technology for a good deal of what I do. Am I a developer? I probably know enough just to be dangerous, but I'm not proficient at anything. I've done a bunch of the EOS training courses. I've done Ivan on Tech. I've done all the developer portals, and I've built and tinkered with smart contracts. So I know enough to talk about these things, but do I want to build smart contracts? I can't sit in a chair that long. I've tried. So it's not my cup of tea. On a personal note, I'm also very passionate about health and wellness and biohacking. In 2010, I was basically given a death sentence. I had a bunch of conditions that were irreversible. And through changing my lifestyle 100%, and also through developing a spiritual program, I've experienced what's can only be called a miraculous recovery. I had a condition that was not curable, but had mysteriously gone away. And so the way that I attribute that is that once my spiritual condition started to heal, so did my physical condition. So I believe in miracles. I believe in the metaphysical. And yeah, I'm always looking for health upgrades. part of the thing that fascinates me about EOS and Eden and all of this is the idea of a decentralized autonomous community or an organization. I think it's exciting to tell my friends that I own a piece of software that's out there on the internet, the same way that I tell them that I own an organic farm in Long Island. I don't really own an organic farm in Long Island, but I participate in a food co-op. So, you know, for $500 a month, I get vegetables, right? But in my head, I own an organic farm. And in my head, I own an online casino because I've got some dice tokens. So I'm excited to be part of the process. And, you know, the things that Dan Larimer has been putting out there had gotten me excited from day one. I was part of BitShares, albeit at the tail end of it. But the idea of being able to vote and have a say in what goes on, I thought was super exciting. So having some skin in the game and being involved is important. To be in a community, and Dan mentioned this also, is that you need to be part of it. You can't just show up for the meetings and whatever and say, yep, I'm an EOSIO owner. Okay, you know, what does that mean? Am I participating, I guess, is the main question. So I'm sorry if that was a bit too wordy. Sometimes when I start talking, I just don't stop, but that's my pitch in a nutshell.
Right on. Do you want me to go, Seth? I'm curious how much ours will overlap.
No, I just wanted to say sharing is caring, right? That's what they what they used to say. So yeah, so I actually I'm trying to get some funds for improvement of the existing service, which is provided to the community. It's called EOS Power Up. There are some free power ups available already. We would like to improve on the existing platform and maybe eventually ease up the onboarding process also for the users. But generally, like, because it's only 1,000 EOS, which is still not a lot of money, is to cover the cost of running the platform and make several improvements, like a Telegram bot and Discord bot, things like that. I'm not sure what else like I can say. Yeah, not sure. I'm part of the community. I'm part of Boyd project, block-based project. Been working with Uplift also for a while. So that's about it.
Okay, I'll go then. So similar project as Seth. So I reached out to, so I guess some background I suppose is important. I've Genesis token holder, bought my first Bitcoin in 2014. I don't build, I work in renewables. I run, you know, industrial size solar plants and I'm more of a hands-on guy. I do some microcontroller coding, but I'm not you know, a developer by any stretch. So I put out, I'm fairly active on Twitter with the same name minus the one, Chris Barnes, and same with Telegram. And so I did put up on the, and I've been taking some of the notes for Dan's calls and putting them up on the EOS forum. So yesterday I put up a, just sort of looking for projects that are, you know, in need of representation. So from that list, I did kind of focus in on what John from Boyd put up, which is exactly what you're talking about, Seth. And for me, what stood out, there was a lot of great stuff there, but for this particular, the way I'm looking at this 1,000 EOS is this is a very small win. So like one of the questions I'd have for you, Dan, that we can get to later is like, what exactly is that EOS going to be for, and how quickly I think will it be deployed? Because the way I see it, this is our test run. Ideally, if we can have something come out of this where someone wins and we can really quickly turn a result and then present that to the broader community and say, hey, look, trial run. It took us a month or however long it take to add this implementation to the EOS Power Up function. And so the way also of the 1,000 EOS, to go back, I saw John's presentation. I reached out to him directly and basically very short Telegram chat to say, hey, can I represent you? And, you know, are you okay with that? And in that chat, we figured that it would be reasonable to dedicate 10% or 100 EOS directly to the free EOS Power Up. So that way, those who are taking advantage of the free transactions have extra funding to do so. So that's 10%. And the other 90% or 900 EOS would go directly to John and perhaps Seth, if you code with John, I don't know, but at least to John to help then code in the feature for the Telegram Discord bot. And the point of that, and I think that's a good community sort of focus, because with the EOS Power Up model that did come out, as we all know, we've seen some CPU issues from people, and someone will come into Telegram and they'll say, hey, what do I do? I'm stuck. To be able to send them to a website is one thing, sure, but to be able to just right then and there, type in their name and provide a free power up, I think that's going to be really useful for the less familiar new users of EOS. So to help kind of expand the community. So I see that as being a valuable feature. It's also something that can be built relatively quickly. So we get that quick win. And it's not going to require sort of this long drawn out, okay, someone won, but there's nothing really to show for it. Doesn't build any hype, doesn't generate anything from that. So I'm not a builder. And then my piece, if I were to be elected, I would, so then from my account to the EOS Power Up, so there'd be transparency there. I would hold sort of like half of the remaining 900, give half to John, have some sort of accountability as to what's getting built, and then send the rest when it's done. And try to share those transactions in Telegram and in Twitter, so it's as transparent as it can be. And the other piece that I will do from my own time is just tweet about it and try to share the statistics from EOS Power Up as to who is using it and how its usage, especially like the tweet I put up yesterday evening about Venezuela being the #1 user right now. I think that's a pretty good story to say, hey, here's a hyperinflationary infected country, and they're making use of these free transactions, so that's a pretty win for the overall EOS community. Yeah, so that's my pitch in a nutshell.
I think it's actually used a lot by, I don't know if you know, Scott, you guys know this project called EOS Microloan. It's been used a lot. Like if you actually look at their Telegram group, it's crazy active. Like because their own currency is really, well, it's hyperinflating. So they're trying to use EOS as their main currency between themselves, which is crazy. So I think that surge in those free power ups from Venezuela is actually because of that project mainly, which is used by loads of people.
Awesome.
Yeah, what's happening in Venezuela is really a beautiful thing to watch. And I've been following that. I've got lots of Venezuelan friends that are here in the United States sending money back home. And I also speak Spanish, so I've been communicating with some of the folks on Twitter as I'm seeing their posts. But it's really wonderful to see that they've created a whole economy around EOS for buying and selling everyday things, loaf of bread, some milk, right? These are the basics.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if anyone is watching this recording, check out eosmicroloan.com.
So I guess in terms of what we're at here and initial votes, Simon, I like where you're at in wanting to translate the book and wanting to get exposure on YouTube. I think from my perspective, I don't think it's a quick enough win. My focus is something that directly first affects Eden. I'd like to see Eden get a boost from this first round, and then enabled to be delivered kind of quickly, like a quick win that we can use to build a bit of hype around. So considering that, you wouldn't be, and I'm also considering all the conversation I had in the first round of what I should be focused on, because we talked about if you don't win, then what are you going to do to represent us as a group? So you would not be my first choice of this group, Simon. I hope that's okay.
It's okay.
I don't know what anyone else, the other gentlemen think.
Yeah, Chris, I really like one thing that you've been bringing up several times at this point, and that's how can we affect some change right away and quickly. And while $10,000 is not a huge amount, it can lay the basic groundwork for the advertising that I would put in place for any one of my clients that are multi-million-dollar people. And it's basics like, are we owning our search terms? Do we have proper advertising tags on that EOS site that's up, which I think is a huge win. Right now we've got a place to point people. And so from my perspective, getting this basic information out there to people searching for EOS and what it is, and not getting a camera website, right, for the photography EOS, which is what typically comes up. I think that we can see some pretty significant change quickly just by getting some basics out there, and that's why I'm gung ho on the pitch that I've come with today. I do like power-ups, and I like translations as well, and I think the translations would be a huge part of this advertising and information distribution, because language barrier is a big hurdle for us to all get over. But a power-up, I don't know if that helps a wider audience right away. I mean, for folks that are in the know, like, yeah, we're concerned about power-up, but for the average Joe just getting introduced, I don't know that they could even grok what that is.
Well, that's the point though, right? Is by adding, so that the 100 EOS to go into the model, that just supports people who use it for free already. So it doesn't really help any new user, but the extra 900 to build the feature that allows someone from a Telegram or Discord chat power up someone else's account. So we have a brand new user, they found us on Telegram, they've come in, they're like, no CPU, what do I do? And we could help with that by having this functionality built in. That's why I see it as like, it's a quick win. And so we can get it done right away. And then we can help new users who have CPU issues that don't understand this power up stuff.
But I mean, sorry,
yeah,
can I? The power up problem is already solved, isn't it? I mean, yes, it's not as easy as possible, but it is somehow solved. But for so many people I know, which are a little bit older, they don't speak English since school, and for it's literally impossible to inform. So this problem isn't solved anyway. I mean, it can get easier to power up your account, but it's impossible to inform for many people out there.
I agree. I just don't think 10,000 or 1,000 EOS is enough to make that happen. Like that won't be solved with this. Like that's a problem, and it should be solved. And I think if anything, some of the problems that come up during these discussions will make great projects for the big funding that's going to come. Like when you can make, what is it, 250 grand up to $4 million. That's big money that can really solve problems. I just don't think from this 1,000 EOS, we're going to fix the translation issue.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards the same thing, because I think we need to build the scale. So like whatever marketing we do and whatever translations we do, we need to be ready to onboard thousands of people who are ready to translate, like to not only one language, 2 languages, like many languages. I think that there's like one of the most popular platforms was like Crowd-in software or something like that. That could be actually like we could try to merge it somehow and maybe create some kind of translation service based on that and try to scale it. But that would need a lot of funding. And I'm also like looking like in the next elections to definitely support marketing, but big time. I'm not talking like 1,000 EOS, I'm talking much more money. And the same with translations, because I think, and I can see it on many projects, that some projects are actually pumped with marketing and they get a lot of interest, but they don't actually have anything to show for. And in here, it will be actually different, because we already have a really good technology, but we don't have the marketing. So we should be pumping the marketing, but we should be putting a lot of money into marketing at this stage. Not like 1,000 EOS is nothing. It should be thousands of EOS put into marketing.
It's not enough. I'm totally with you, but I guess it's a start. And what actually inspired me was when I read his book. He was writing. He found the blockchain technology in Bitcoin, and he said, "Oh, this problem is already solved." And the first thing he did was to provide education to build a community, and I guess that's what our goal is. But yes, that's only my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. The 1,000 EOS is really a starting point for any of the ideas that we're talking about here. What I'm encouraged by is that most of the things that I would put in place don't necessarily cost me anything except for my time to get them done. So there'd be very little of that EOS that I would have to spend on things other than my time putting the nuts and bolts of an advertising framework in place for that site to start collecting data for all this great machine learning like Google and Facebook and Twitter and all the other advertising platforms out there to build audiences and to target folks and to get them into these websites a lot easier. So I think the money would go a lot further by getting that basic framework down. Just circling back, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't part of the power up problem being solved by folks like Graymass who are covering small amounts of transactions? Because I haven't used the power up model, but I use Graymass for all of my transactions and haven't run into any issues of running out of resources.
Different wallets have, yeah, there's different free options. The power up allows, it's not dependent on the wallet, I guess is better. So when we're trying to bring in different users and disparate users who don't use the same wallet but are stuck with a transaction, then anybody in the community, if this works, like if we get this built, which we can, you could then, anybody in the Telegram chat could power up anybody else's account straight from Telegram. Like there's no need to, and then of course your own wallet, I suppose, to authorize the transaction. Is that right?
So there's another like issue relying only one provider, which at the moment is only Anchor Wallet, to be honest, that provides free transactions. And there's been occasions recently where it just didn't work. Like there's been some issues for various reasons, or they might be, for example, someone in different parts of the world may have issues connecting to different types of nodes, or maybe they cannot use Graymass, and then power up is their only choice at that point. So maybe by securing at least those, like one of the two options is better for now. And at the next stage of Eden OS, we'll just pump money in other things which are also incredibly important, right? So this is a small investment, as I said. And I really think that marketing and translations is like an Eden OS second election process material in a way.
Yeah, I'm laser focused on this quick win thing. Because Dan, you did mention, I think just before, a moment ago when you spoke, that I think you said something along the lines of, I forget exactly how you said it, but it sounded as if we do this power up thing, this is something we could do within a month. Like we could basically have completed this election, donate the 100 EOS to the free use that mostly Venezuelans are using. Well, not mostly, I guess it's about half because a lot of Chinese and some North Americans as well. But and then have that functionality added to Telegram Discord, and it's a win. We're done. We did it. Like we basically took a very small amount of money, went through this process, and now everybody, including yourself as an advertiser, I'm sure would appreciate the importance of having something to say, look, it worked. Because a lot of what this is, our intention here isn't just to win this money and build something. It's really to vet out how this Eden OS process is going to work. So it's super important that the final winner and what they show for it, that's going to be highly reflective on how the next one is going to be sort of perceived, because there's still a lot of negative sentiment from some groups that don't like this idea, don't trust humans, and don't want inflation and all the negativity we've heard. It'd be really great to say, yeah, okay, those are all tail risks, and yeah, we could get some bad members, bad apples will get in, and they might win their group and take the money and go off to the Bahamas, but not everybody. And look, here we've already done it once and it worked, and here's what came out of it: concrete, actual result. I think for me, that's super important. And that's where, Dan, I like what you want to do with the advertising. piece. And if anything, I would extend a hand to maybe stay in touch after this, depending on how this plays out. But ideally, build a bit of a pitch that's sort of almost a presentation that's ready, takes some personal time, and then have that pitch ready for the next one. Because the next one's where the big money is. And that's where if you had a bit of a, hey, this is how it could look, this is what it needs to look like, this is the time, this is the funding needs, and really lay it out, that's where I think what you're suggesting has a far better, I don't know if you looked at the forum, Simon, but he put up one about needing a translation service of sorts. So there might be some synergy there to perhaps reach out to him. And because I think ideally we could form some sort of groups of, from this, introductions, meet each other, and then have some projects that people start to put some personal time behind to then look for that big funding that can then alleviate sort of and get things done on a bigger level.
You totally got me. Really, I totally understand. Every other project is looking at this election and what will result from it. And if Seth is able to deliver his power up solution faster, I guess he's the right person, because the community goals will obviously, I guess obviously took much longer.
So I'm actually gonna like vote for Chris, because like he can keep us on our toes in a way to you know, to push us, make sure that we're actually gonna do our job.
Okay, yeah, I was curious how that, yeah. Well, Dan, what do you think? Are you in agreement that we should go for this quick win, or do you think we should still push for?
I understand what you're saying about a quick win, but I think it's a bit short-sighted, because I don't know that the vast majority of people will understand what a power-up is. And I think it's more important to drive the greatest amount of people to that EOS Foundation portal, which starts educating people about what it is. Most people I talk to have no clue what EOS is, never mind a power up.
Right, but do you think the 1,000 EOS, if given to you, would be enough to start to make that communication happen? Or is it just the beginning stages? So maybe you can explain more exactly where you see it going in the timelines.
Sure.
Because I still think what you're suggesting is a long-term vision that's absolutely needed, but I don't think you can accomplish with just 1,000 EOS within a month or two. Maybe I'm wrong.
Right, yes. So with any marketing campaign, it could become a money pit, right? The more marketing dollars you have, the better. But what needs to be in place right away are the basics. And I've got a checklist that I'll go through with any client that comes to me. Are you owning your branded search terms on all the engines, Bing, Google, etc.? Do you have ad marketing technical infrastructure on your website to optimize the traffic that's coming in? Do you have an analytics package on your website? And that's free, right? You can get Google Analytics and start looking at it, where it's coming from. And once we can start measuring the things that are happening and optimizing the people looking for that website, we can start making decisions like, oh, we are seeing more people coming from Venezuela. And here's how many pages they're viewing. Here's how many people are viewing the Anchor wallet description, right? The more that we can analyze, the better decisions we can make moving forward. Do I think that there's room for billboards and TV ads? Yeah, that's great, but it's so far in the future that right now it's just out of reach and not really practical or something I would recommend. So just getting the basics on that website, I think, is super important. Having the website up at all was a great win, but now how do we direct people there? How do we let people know that it's there when they go to a search engine and look for EOS? Is it coming up? Is it optimized for search engine results? Probably not, but those are all the things that I can start looking at a basic level.
So the 1,000 EOS would go towards just your time to start looking at this stuff, to try to set it up. And just not sure how we're going to qualify that as a win in the short term. And again, that's sort of a focus.
Yeah, so it would go into things like if you typed in EOS on a search engine, you would get a branded result of the EOS community website and not just some natural search result of the camera company.
Yeah. Okay. But how do the funds do that? I don't understand how the receipt of 1,000 EOS makes that happen.
Right. So once the marketing infrastructure is in place on the site, and those are basically tracking pixels and setting up the accounts within things like Google Ads and Bing Ads and Facebook Ads, et cetera. The next piece would be to actually bid on those keywords and make sure that we've got a paid result that comes up there. And Google will tend to favor the paid result and the organic result if those two are in line, and that's even stronger, so that you're owning more real estate on that page when somebody does come there, right?
So the 1,000 EOS could go towards bidding for these search terms. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it would be a small amount of it, because the amount of branded search is dependent on brand health. Now, the more people that know about EOS, the token, the more branded searches will be executed on a monthly basis. And that basically determines what your budget is. And then you take into account, are there other projects bidding on those terms because they want to divert our traffic to their project? So that could drive up the price. But at first, it's going to be a bit of a fact-finding mission on brand health, like how many people are really searching for this on a monthly basis.
Okay. I think it makes sense. It's needed. I just don't see how that's going to be, again, this quick win. I don't know how that's something we can share to excite and encourage other people to join Eden. Like if we use the power up thing, that's leveraging the fact that Venezuelans are using it. And so it's got a good image piece to it, which is important. Like, yeah, we want to be selfish, and in terms of we're all token holders for EOS. We want EOS to do well. But I think we should be equally selfish right now to prove that Eden is a good platform to bring good to the world, right? To grow the community, not just fill our bags with token value going up. So I don't know. Yeah, we might be stuck in a 3-1. Go ahead.
I actually I'm trying to I'm going to Google and just typing EOS and from using Tor from different locations, and it always shows me EOS, the platform EOS.io and the token, like everywhere, every time. So I'm trying to see how would that help if I remember a couple of months ago when I was typing EOS, it was always EOS Canon related, but now it's EOS.io related. So it seems that there is this move in Google rankings to actually show EOS, the EOS.io platform already.
Yeah, the next goal would be to separate block 1, which controls EOS.io, and the EOS community website, which is where the community should be directed at this point to find out about what EOS is.
Okay.
So it would take some time to affect those natural rankings in order to get the community website to come up instead of EOS.io, the software website.
So Dan, are you resolute in not wanting to support the EOS power up improvement? Is this something do you have questions for us that maybe could help make that an easier decision for you? And did you get any feedback from your group on what did it come up where if you are stuck in between two options, how should you direct your decision? I know we did.
Yeah, no, it wasn't an issue earlier, and I'm open to supporting the power up model. I think if we can talk about how there's a story to tell on the impact of the folks in Venezuela, that would make it a powerful win to say, wow, look at the lives we've changed because of this power up model and how things are so much easier. I'm not stuck on any idea. I just want the best one to move forward.
Okay. I'm with you 100% on that. And so then, so again, I'd like to stick with this 10% goes directly to just putting money into that for people to use. And then working with John, and I suppose you as well, Seth, to get this other functionality built in. But then Dan, if possible, I'd like to be able to maybe reach out to you on the side here and just kind of continue this conversation, because I like, maybe, I mean, it's free time, I suppose, but any tips or like any suggestions on how I could better present the information? Because what I'd like to do is part of my driving positive opinion of Eden and for the next one to show that this can work. So perhaps if you're willing to help me a bit to make to with that, but then I'd like to kind of maybe work with you, and maybe we could come up with a bit of a more formalized pitch for the big show, and see if there's a way that then I could maybe work on your, because I think advertising is huge. I like to learn about it. I find it very interesting. So maybe there's an opportunity there.
Yeah, for sure. And from my perspective, with or without 1,000 EOS, I'm willing to devote my time and resources into it. When it comes down to hard costs, like I would have to lay out money, that's where I would say, hey, is there a way the community can help support this? Because that's where, you know, I would draw the line. But I've always been looking for a way to inject my capabilities into the community without taking on tons of cost.
Well, I think that would be it then, right? It would be come up with a bit of a plan that has costs earmarked, like a proper budget, a proper OpEx budget. Like I'm used to dealing with budgets in, you know, dozens of millions essentially. So we build an OpEx that would kind of fit with what you see, and any capital spend to for these one-off things that you know about that I don't. But maybe we can work together to build something to then present that at the final thing in July. Because then it's like, you know, getting a couple $100,000 that can make something happen. Like that's
yeah.
I mean, it's not the 100 million that we were told that voice would be marketed with, but but it's enough to do something.
I think we are getting some time issues, aren't we? When do we start?
Perhaps we could any time now, I suppose. They started late, so I don't know if it's on time. It would technically end in 1 minute if we were on time. But it started 13 minutes late, I think.
Okay.
Dan, what's your contact? Like, are you on Twitter, or are you on like, if I want to get out, I guess I could just find you on Telegram, right? Iron Mikey.
Yeah, it's the same name on Twitter as well.
5 E's.
Yeah. Or I could put my in here as well.
Sweet. Oh shoot, pause the recording. Okay. I'll reach out to you, Dan, because I'd like to see if we could, see what can come of this idea. It's needed. The advertising piece is needed. I don't know how many people in this initial cohort here are focused on what you're focused on. And Simon, I know, like I said, if you look at the forum, there was and it's been put up. Seth put it up. Look at Earthman. He put a post about translation and translating services. So definitely I would suggest contacting him. He's been pretty vocal in the community. And so I think there's some opportunity to, at a minimum, people are going to watch all these videos and find people and maybe form these more powerful groups, right? Enriching our community. Like that's an awesome outcome, regardless of this particular election. I think really this is the trial run for the big one.
Would be cool to see a translation service based on EOS.io. That would be really cool.
It would. So are we unanimous then to select me to move forward?
Yes, I vote for you, Chris.
Simon, Dan?
I think I would vote for Chris too, because he really convinced me. I think he's a pretty good consensus finder, so yes.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah, that gets my vote also. I like the idea of a provable win in the short term.
Okay, and if I can't, so then the question I have is, when I move on to the next round then, and it turns out that I'm not, doesn't look like I'm going to get consensus. Do you guys have a preference as to where I should direct my vote? Do you want it to go towards something that's very Eden OS specific, EOS in general specific? Any other criteria that I should consider from you guys?
It's hard to say,
I was,
but it seems like you've got the right perspective. What is going to move the needle in the short term?
yeah. So like I was thinking that probably like anything connected to Eden OS to push it forward as soon as possible. Also.
So focus on Eden and not just EOS in general. That lines up with what my previous group thought as well. Simon, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm totally with you.
Okay, we have reached consensus. It's official.
Cool.
I will post my thing. Okay, I'll drop out of here so they can start rendering. Yeah, nice to meet you, fellas. Appreciate the time.
Nice to
And
meet
thanks
you
for the
too,
vote.
guys.
Thanks for the vote of confidence. I hope to do you proud in the next round.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay, and Mike, I will,
you,
or Dan,
guys.
sorry, I keep thinking Mike. I will reach out, Dan, and we'll I'll touch base.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
All right.
All right.
Bye, guys.